You woke me up for that? Story 1. My girlfriend punched me in the face. According to her, she just woke up from a dream but was still in one of those weird half-conscious, half-dreaming states where she didn't really know where she was or what was going on. She said she looked beside her in bed and saw some dark mass laying there that made her uncomfortable. So after watching it for a moment, she attacked it. Ended up decking me square in the nose, hard. Somehow I instantly knew what happened. I shot up and yelled, "Babe, what the frick?" She mumbled some half-asleep apology, immediately rolled over, and went back to sleep. I, on the other hand, laid there unable to go back to sleep for 2 more hours because it's not exactly easy to do when you're woken like that. I was furious. It's one of my favorite stories about her/us now. You know, I've had a partner, startle me awake a little bit by, saying something or, tapping me or something once when they were asleep, but to get fully decked would be startling, to say the least. And the fact that you were kind enough to let her go back to sleep and not be like, what just happened here? You get to be awake too and help me with this. Good on you. That's pretty compassionate. Story 2. My roommate. I love her so much. Put an old potato in the microwave for 5 minutes. We don't know if it's because she didn't poke it with holes or because if it was old or if 5 minutes is too long for a raw potato, but we had a food flare-up. I woke up because a fire alarm was going off and I peeked my head out and there's a small fire in the microwave. I blasted it with water from a spray bottle until it stopped glowing and we threw out the melted plate and blew the smoke out the windows and we laughed about it for an hour. It was such a stupid situation. Who lights a fire in a microwave? Who fricks up baking a potato? Who's baking potatoes after midnight anyway? Why was it so funny to hold a melted plate in the middle of the night? It's actually one of my favorite college memories so far. As someone who once set a sweet potato on fire in the microwave, it pleases me to know I'm not the only one who makes this mistake. I mean, first off, who bakes a potato after midnight? Someone who's high and really wants a baked potato. That's who. Second, how do the plate melt? Do they make plastic plates? Because every microwave I've had, that little bottom plate is glass. Oh, maybe the plate that the potato was on. I'm piecing it together now. Everything's coming together. Story 3. I was having a nap one day. I very rarely nap, and a friend of mine who lives halfway across town charges into my room and screams, "Do you have a phone book?" I was so dazed and confused that I didn't even consider asking why and just gave him the book. Years later at his wedding, I gave him a phone book of my new town. I will never forget the nap that got away. Story 4. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, especially after a night of drinking. One Saturday morning when I was in college, I slept through a fire alarm. I woke up when a security officer entered my room and started yelling at me, "Hey, why are you still here? Didn't you hear the alarm?" I was still in my bed at that point, and I just looked at him and said, "I didn't hear it. I was sleeping." He then tells me that the fire alarm was set off in my room and starts rattling off questions. "Were you smoking, microwaving, toasting, lighting incense?" I told him, "No, dude, I just told you I was sleeping. You literally just woke me up." I could tell he was getting a bit frustrated, but so was I. He then tells me, "Get up, you need to go outside with the others." I responded, "Well, can I at least get dressed? I'm not wearing boxers." After that, he finally left, and I put on some underwear and my robe and went outside. It turned out my smoke alarm was defective, which is why it set off the system and why I couldn't hear it as loudly as everyone else. It wasn't necessarily a stupid reason to wake me up, but at the time, I was super annoyed because it sucked to wake up to a security guard yelling at you early in the morning. Story 5. I kid you not with this story. So, my linear algebra professor decided to test us to see if we're truly learning the material in class. So he says, "Your cell numbers are in the school system, so I'm going to call each and every one of you at random one time during the quarter. I'm going to ask a linear algebra question and you have to answer it or else you lose 5 points." I thought it was weird, but we decided to go along with it. 3/4 of the way through the quarter, I completely forgot about it, and at 3 in the morning, my phone goes off. I wake up and answer it. "Hey, it's your math professor here. Here's your question. How many vectors does it take to form a basis in R4? And what are the conditions needed to form it?" I paused for a second, and I just said, "No, I'm not doing this," and hung up. The next day, I talked to him after class and he said, if you truly knew the material, you'd know it in your sleep. I lost 5 points, but I didn't care. That was the dumbest thing to do to wake a person up. I don't know my own name when I wake up from a deep sleep, much less linear fricking algebra. I'm not joking when I say that I would have reported that algebra professor to someone, whoever you report professors to, because that's bull. I am the same way. If you woke me up, if you managed to wake me up with a phone call at 3 a.m., I would not be coherent and I would not be ready to do that stuff. That teacher deserves a swift kick in the butt because that's ridiculous. Story 6. I speak Spanish, but the rest of my family doesn't. One Saturday morning, my dad was having a garage sale and woke me up at 7 a.m. to translate for some guy who didn't speak English and wanted to negotiate prices. So I dragged myself out of bed. I had a really late night the night before and was a little hungover, and went to talk to this guy about a punching bag. I was talking to him for about 5 minutes before I realized that he was speaking Portuguese and that I was having a one-sided conversation with myself, and neither of us could actually understand the other. Story 7. Being woken up to be told, I'm going out. I would have gathered that by waking up and noticing that you weren't home. I would assume, oh, she went out. This happens to me all the time. I get woken up by someone yelling, bye, Alextoria, I'm going to the dentist or mall or work. Like, thanks, if only I could have figured that out myself. Sorry, I'm a bit bitter about this. Story 8. Coworker called me at 1:30 a.m. to call out for the following day. Coworker, not an employee, and because of a sore throat. That crap happened to me too. Hey, I'm gonna be out tomorrow. Can you tell the boss? Can't you call her in the morning? Nope, I'm gonna be busy. It's literally just, hey, I won't be there. Okay, have a good day. Story 9. My dad, I think he has been smoking pot, but anywho, he woke me up at 3 a.m. in my senior year of high school to see if I wanted to drive him to Walmart so that he could buy 10 mini blinds for the dining room. He handed me a piece of paper that he had supposedly written down the measurements of the window, but it was just a list of candy. Sounds to me like your dad had a pretty important grocery list, and if you wanted to be a good kid, you would have got him over to Walmart so he could get those blinds and all that delicious candy. Story 10. My mom woke me up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday when I was 15 to tell me that Princess Diana had died. I was annoyed, and so I just said, good, and went back to sleep. I was 18 and my mom woke me up at 7 a.m. to tell me that too. I asked if Dodie was with her and apparently nodded in approval when this was confirmed and rolled over. Story 11. My friend calls me. Hey, can I borrow Smash Brothers Melee? I would be grateful, man. Dude, it's 3:30 a.m. Frickin' wait until the sun is out. Dude took my word seriously. Hey, the sun is out now. Can I get the game? Sure. Sorry, everyone, the tournament is delayed until sunrise because someone was being a dong. Well, mate, you should have your own copy of the game if you're going to host a tournament, Steve. Pee off, Jerry. Story 12. A couple of nights ago, my husband flipped the light on in the middle of the night because he was looking for spiders hanging from the ceiling while he was dreaming. Twice, 2 hours apart. Hey, spiders can be scary. Ouch, that's bitter and epic at the same time. Story 13. This will get buried, but I wanted to share. I was on a cruise with some friends and sharing a room with 2 other girls. One of the girls woke me up at 5:30 a.m. so we could go see the sunrise. Now, for some context, not 3 years before this, I finished my 4-year contract with the U.S. Navy where I was stationed on an aircraft carrier in the Gulf, and for most of that time, I worked night check, the night shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. on deployment. Not only did this girl know that, but on at least 10 occasions, I told her the story of getting off work to head out to the fantail and watch the sunrise over the ocean before heading to bed for the night. Also, for some extra context, I am not a morning person. If I don't have to wake up early and I am woken up early, I turn into a grumpy bee. So when she woke me up, I rolled over, glared at her, and said, "Really?" and rolled back over to go to sleep. But Red Shirt Decoy, it's the sunrise on the ocean. You have to experience this. If I had $1 for every time I saw the sunrise on the ocean, I would have enough money to pay someone to throw you overboard for waking me up. Now leave me alone. I'm on vacation and I'm friggin' going back to bed. This is the same woman who used to complain because she heard the sunrise story so many times before this cruise, yet conveniently forgot at 5:30 a.m. on frickin' vacation. First off, folks, can we just stop starting off these posts saying, this will get buried, but I wanted to share? Like, have some confidence. Get out there and just put your best foot forward. Don't be all like, no one's gonna read it. We're reading it. It's right here, right now. We believe in you. Second, maybe your wife or girlfriend or whatever it was just wanted to actually be there and share that moment with you. Maybe they did remember about you talking about all those sunrises, and they kept dreaming about, oh, I wish I'd been there with them. That sounds so beautiful and stuff, and wanted to share a moment with her partner. So get out of bed and go see a sunrise, and then get a nice early morning Bloody Mary and enjoy your vacation. You grouch. Story 14. My roommate and her boyfriend snuck in at 6 a.m. and tried to quietly have intercourse while I was sleeping in the other bed 2 feet away. Wow, frick that guy, if he's cool with that. Story 15. My mom very excitedly woke me up to show me a recently dead bird that she had seen fly into the window. I told her that she wasn't a cat, and as such, this behavior was unacceptable. Story 16. During college, some drunk jackbutt tried and failed to cook grilled cheese at 2:30 in the morning, set off the fire alarm for an 8-floor dorm. The campus police officer who showed up to help clear the scene stood on top of his cruiser and yelled, "Who the frick burns grilled cheese at 2 a.m.? Dang, that officer must have been green. Story 17. Because my mom wants me to be awake. She doesn't have anything she wants me to do. She just doesn't want me sleeping if the sun is out. Most fun things for teenagers happen at around midnight. Wake her up then so she doesn't miss out. Story 18. My manager once called me at 6 a.m. to ask if I saw his email he sent an hour before about shirt sizes for the new uniforms. I thought that calling you about an email they just sent you was a thing that happened right after email became an enterprise thing and it didn't happen anymore. Nope, at least once a week, I get a call 30 seconds after I receive an email. Don't answer the phone if your managers are calling you at 6 a.m. Absolutely not. They could send a text or leave a message or something. That's ridiculous. And managers, ooh, if you do this, bad karma or something. Or, just an enraged employee decking you one day. Don't do this. Story 19. My roommate, I love her so much, put an old potato in the microwave for 5 minutes. We don't know if it's because she didn't poke it with holes, or if it's because it was old, or if 5 minutes is too long for a raw potato, but we had a food flare-up. I woke up because the fire alarm was going off, and I peeked my head out, and there's a small fire in the microwave. I blasted it with water from a spray bottle until it stopped glowing, and we threw out the melted plate and blew the smoke out the windows, and we laughed about it for like an hour. It was such a stupid situation. Who lights a fire in a microwave? Who fricks up baking a potato? Who's baking potatoes after midnight anyway? Why was it so funny to hold a melted plate in the middle of the night? It's actually one of my favorite college memories so far. As someone who once set a sweet potato on fire in the microwave, it pleases me to know I'm not the only one who made this mistake. Story 20. My girlfriend woke me up to tell me the toilet was clogged and asked if I could help. I walked to the bathroom, watched her use the plunger to unclog the toilet, and walked back into bed as she said thank you for your help. Story 21. As a long-serving EMT, I've been woken up on shift at Lord knows what hours for things like toe pain for 4 weeks, a gangbanger with the flu, a patient who wanted to ask if she should take aspirin, picking up the same guy for the 4th time in 24 hours for no reason, and people who had a nightmare. The list is endless. All young, otherwise healthy people with nothing emergent or immediate happening to them. It's my job, I was on shift, so I really shouldn't care, but when you work 24, 36, and 48-hour shifts, those 10-minute naps are a blessing. 1 hour is a full night's sleep, and anything over that is a miracle. I'm glad you like your job, and I know this isn't your fault, but there is no way someone charged with possibly saving a life should be doing shifts longer than 8 hours. I mean, to be fair, they have those longer shifts because they get to, rest and sleep, ideally, during that period, and they're not constantly working. But I do have to agree, I feel like if you're going 36 or 48 hours, that's too much time, being on call and at the ready and everything. But I guess in some areas, maybe it's just hard to get enough people to do that.
Story 22. A nurse paged me to let me know that one of my patient's temperatures had gone from 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit to 99.2 degrees Fahrenheit and just wanted me to be aware. For those not in the medical field, anything less than 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit is not a fever. This means that my patient went from not having a fever to still not having a fever, and they woke me up at 4 a.m. to tell me. I once got paged at 3 a.m. to tell me my patient's potassium was 3.6, aka normal. I also once got paged to notify me that my patient's BUN was low. This means nothing clinically. Story 23. I've nearly dumped my boyfriend on more than one occasion for waking me up to ask me to pass him some water. I always have a drink bottle on my bedside table. Just reach over and get it your dang self. Good, now I'm mad just thinking about it. Thanks. My ex would do this all the time. Eventually, I would always get 2 glasses of water, put one on her side and one on mine. Story 24. Not me, but my friend's older brother was woken up by my other friend at 3 a.m. to ask for the Wi-Fi password in their house. Story 25. I woke up punching myself in the face repeatedly. I must have tried to itch my nose or something and did it. Then I hit myself again trying to block whatever was hitting me. I must have hit myself in the face 10 times before I woke up enough to realize what was happening. My whole arm fell asleep and it was dark.
Okay, the spouse or partner punching the person in the face was a pretty funny story. I cannot I can't help but laugh at trying to put in the mental image of you like punching yourself 10 times in a row as you're waking up. You're just like, stop it.
Story 26. Being woken up to ask me if I want to smoke a bowl. No, bro. The reason I fell asleep in the first place was because I'm too high. Story 27. My dad left for work with soup boiling on the stove. I woke up smelling smoke and thought someone was smoking. Window was open, went into the kitchen, and freaked out by the smoke. Story 28. I can't remember if I was actually woken up or woke up on my own, but I woke up one morning to my ex mad at me because she had a dream that I cheated on her. Story 29. It was in the middle of the night and the power went out. The air conditioner was off, so it was warm as heck. Couldn't go back to sleep. I really hate waking up when the power is out. Story 30. When I was little, my parents came into my room screaming that the house was on fire, and while I started to head to the sirens, I grabbed my cat and ran out of the house in my boxers, straight into the fire department having a parade in our neighborhood for some frickin' reason.
I mean, I don't know if it was like a parade, and obviously it would have had to been during the day, right? I guess you can have nighttime parades too, but I just love the idea of you panicking, being like, oh my god, and you grab the cat and you're running out in your underwear and you get out into the lawn and then it's just like ba 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 da ba 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 ba, and you're just, I'll risk the fire.
Story 31. My daughter always wakes up in the middle of the night, but it's not a quiet wake up. She's 6. She screams at the top of her lungs, Dad! Me. What? Her. I can't sleep. Me neither. Anytime I fall asleep at my mom's place, my 8-year-old sister will shake me awake and ask what I'm doing. Story 32. I was a scout camping, and I got stuck with this little prick as a tent mate. Sure enough, he wakes me up saying he needs to take a crap and he needs me to go with him because he lost his flashlight. I gave him a flashlight, but insisted I go with him because of mountain lions. This was a campsite in Fairfax, Virginia, one of the most developed counties in the frickin' state, so I was forced to go with him. The little crap goes to the restroom across the camp and takes a 40-minute crap. When we try to take the main road back to our site, he freaks out saying he saw something and decides the best course of action is to go off-road, which is strongly discouraged in scouts. After a twisted ankle and some cussing, I finally get the little wep back to the tent. He then pulls out a flashlight that he had hid from me to get back into his sleeping bag. I was not happy.
I'm sorry. Your tent mate got you up and made you go to the bathroom with them because they were scared. And then they took 40 minutes to crap? I would have left them after after 10 minutes, I would have been like, you need to eat more fiber. Good luck getting home. Bye.
Story 33. Late to the party, but still a goodie. I was staying at my uncle's place, drinking, playing Halo, having a good time, and I called it a night around 2 a.m. Well, about 4 a.m., I wake up to him kicking in the bedroom door and screaming, "The snow is flying! We need to get the trucks ready and get!" Now, my uncle takes care of the snow removal for some business, but this was the middle of June. Story 34. I woke up to someone shaking my leg and asking if I was sleeping. I feel the tickle in my leg even if you point a finger towards them, and this bastard grabbed my leg and shook it like Batman was murdered out in the alley. I kicked the butthole in the head with my other leg. Story 35. My roommate once woke me up just a few days ago. I was up half the night playing video games until around 7 a.m. and he knew my body clock was all fricked up, so I planned on having a nice relaxing day and sleeping until late afternoon. But come 10 a.m. I get a knock on my bedroom door. I barely knew who or where the frick I was, but I managed to say, "What?" My roommate proceeds to open the door and peeks his big frickin' head in and hits me with the, "Oh, I just wasn't sure if you were here or not. That's cool," and peeks back out. What the frick is wrong with you, man?
There is nothing quite as awful as having roommates when you're working midnights. Even if they're the nicest, best roommates in the world, you're never going to be in the mood to deal with them. And if they do stupid stuff like that, then it's really hard dealing with them.
Story 36. Obnoxiously loud buzz/shriek of a National Weather Service warning to my cell phone at 3 a.m. telling me that in about an hour it was going to be raining in a county 60 miles away. I figured out how to turn that crap permanently off. False positives generated by humans are unacceptable. One time I got a tornado warning in November. I live near LA. Story 37. My brother saw 30 minutes and assumed there was a 7 in front of it on Christmas morning. It was 3:30. Even on Christmas, that's 4 hours too early. Story 38. A bazillion years ago when I was 16, I was hospitalized for infectious mono, and they would wake me up to ask if I needed a sleeping pill. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.